Yeah. Great, great, great. Thanks for staying with us. From time to time, we have the good benefit of discussion and powerful discussions that talk about media, business, and what's next. And so your presence here today has given us that benefit. And so, wow, we this is a very unique group of people here. Wow, we've got the muscadine, and we've got the Hollywood, and we got three sisters. And so let's come with the collection of media, business, and next steps. Now that's a very unique perspective about things. I guess we'll look at challenges, that have impacted business for since. And I like to think that okay, there are things that have affected our culture in such a magnanimous way that we'll have to define the future according to them. We have pre-COVID and post-COVID, and then where we are as a culture now, and how that will affect business. There's three territories that we'll talk about, and media. Yeah, and media is such a huge word, and so let's put it out there. Give me like 15, if you can, reduce your comments to 15 to 20, 30 seconds responses that way. Let's talk about the challenges of business. And as you know, I started this way. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell. I don't care where you're from, how old you are, and what your experiences are. We all have a story to tell. And so from that standpoint, what is your story? And how can your story benefit people in business, people who are facing tomorrow with their own challenges, and then throw in that pot post-COVID. Throw in that pot post-COVID, because we're living in a brave new world now, a brave new world, and COVID scared the bejesus out of everybody. I mean, it scared the bejesus out of people. So I mean, what do we do now? But now we're moving into an area of more confidence and post-COVID. So just open it up to the audience and your speakers. You know who you are, and tell us what your thinking is about that, please. Tim, you just came on. Tell us.
Sure. Yeah. Just maybe like how COVID impacted my company
Yeah. That's good. That's good. And from a story point of view.
Yeah. Ooh, a storyteller. Goodness. So I own 3 brick and mortar health food stores in Madison, Wisconsin, and they're around health and wellness, So COVID is a health condition. So that was very interesting to navigate. And in the beginning, searching for being classified as an essential business was the goal, because we had to stay open, man. I got employees to feed and a team to take care of, and there was fear, there's anxiety, there's frustration, there's hope, there's belief, there's faith, and our team pulled together, and we were able to be classified as an essential business and help Madison, Wisconsin in some very cool ways through that period of time.
That's a good story, and
made us stronger.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, because those aspects make us decide. No, make us not wait. Make us decide that we're bigger than this. We can beat this. We can overcome what we're facing, and I commend you for deciding that. I commend you for deciding it. Tell us what your spin on that, Robert, is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I echo what the last gentleman said. It's definitely it's turned the business world into, upside down in one respect. I think with artificial intelligence, and I think we became a lot more dependent since the pandemic on like what we're doing now through Zoom and technology, and more and more people are staying home or working from home. So it's definitely changed the landscape. As far as my business is concerned, yeah, we basically shut down because, being in close proximity, we weren't able to have classes and stuff like that. And even in the movie side of the business, a lot of things, everything shut down as well. So it really kind of uh, I think now everybody's kind of struggling to find kind of a new way to make up revenue wise the losses from the COVID situation, due to the fact that there's a lot more consortiums being formed, and a lot more cross pollinizations with management and managers of different people that wouldn't work together. One of the things I noticed that was very interesting in terms of the music side of the business was you see a lot more country artists doing music with hip hop artists, and various artists are crossing over to make up for that deficit. And a lot more people are going into different various parts of businesses, whether it's the alcohol business or whatever. They're getting more involved in different things that they never would have because of the lack of ticket sales or whatever. So it's definitely done had a massive impact on the entertainment business as well.
Well, good. That's very good. Sri, tell us what you're thinking is.
For us, being in the CPG space, it's quite challenging because now we have all the people at our facilities manufacturing. How do we keep them safe? How do we prevent it from spreading? Because during that time, we didn't know how big of an impact COVID was going to have. So that was one of the big ones for us. We wanted to make sure that how can we continue to operate and manufacture, but also keeping all of our employees and their families safe. On the business side as well, a lot of our partners were suffering. We had supply chain issues, as many of you gentlemen have experienced as well. We ended up having to keep a lot more inventory on hand than we normally would, and for many CPG companies, that stretches how much capital that they have on hand. So those were some of the big challenges that we had.
Very good. Jaime, comment. I can't hear you.
Right. So for us, COVID was actually a pretty critical moment for us as a company, because we were still very early in our production process and in terms of just growing the company and just getting started. So COVID could have been the thing that could have stopped all this, and I would have been completely done. I would have had to essentially, quit the company and try to do something else. So I would say for us, COVID was a crossroads. COVID was a point where we had to make a decision of what are we going to do? What's best for us? What's the best path to take, and how are we going to do it? And we were fortunate, to be with the right kind of surrounding people who are really helpful with that. But like I said, we were at such a pivotal moment at that point, when in March of 2020. So I would say it was a real kind of moment of truth. That's what I would say COVID was for us. There was a moment of truth. It was like, how serious, of a business person do you see yourself? How serious of an entrepreneur you are. So I think what COVID was for us is like, okay, are you in this, or are you really in? And that's really made the decision. We had to be all in.
Daryl, your perspective.
I guess for us, being in the industry that we're in, COVID actually was a boom for our business, mainly because 95% of my sales are wholesale. So I sell to the grocers. And we were, listed as, one of those companies that, needed to stay open. So we were essential. So we grew in revenue during COVID. For me, the negative impact that COVID has had is basically the hangover from COVID. it would appear that after COVID, we've just had so many hits after COVID to our economy that the economy just hasn't restarted. We've been in almost like a bad dream, or a hangover type of situation since COVID. We sort of kind of got a handle on COVID. And part of that was with all the handouts that the government was giving. It made people lazy. And just like most of the workforce still hasn't come back. So that to me is the biggest impact that I've seen on our business, is that the economy is just not there yet. I mean, and no one has a good idea of actually what's going on in the economy. You have these people with all these PhDs in business and finance from Harvard, MIT, or wherever, and they don't have a clue. We have no clue what's going on in the economy right now. I tell people that, I stay right at the intersection of 95 and 74. And, on those interstates, at any given time, I can go out there, and those interstates are crowded with vehicles, with people going here and there. Normally, in a bad economy, people don't travel. People stay at home because of, I'm not sure, about my money. I'm not sure about my bank account. I need to save money, so on and so forth. But I'm not seeing that. I mean, the highways are crowded with people. I see 30-day tags on vehicles all the time. For the most part, you're not going to get a vehicle now for less than $1,000 a month car payment. And I'm sitting back and trying to, juxtapose what I'm hearing in the media and all these people are saying about the economy and where people are with their money. And, but I'm looking at what's happening out here on the street, and none of it makes any sense. It just doesn't go together. It's like alcohol sales in North Carolina have been down for almost, 4 months solid now, compared, to, what normal is. Normally, this is a time of year where people start actually buying a lot of alcohol, and that really still hasn't, that switch still hasn't flipped. So, there's a lot of things going on in the economy right now, but for us, I still see us in a COVID haze. The economy still seems like it's just not, the fog hasn't cleared since COVID.
Okay. Thank you for that. It was so ironic that you mentioned the word hangover, regarding your description. But, I mean, you make a very good point, and it's relevant to, where typical Americans are. I mean, and people are in unique positions because they have to be aggressive, and they can't resist, as you say, the people who are being very slow to move, and there are people who are being very aggressive to move. And so at the end of the day, we have to be resilient. We have to be, relevant, and we have to also think out of the box. This will be probably the most important era that defines American business in the history of our country, because we'll have to discover, we'll have to consider, we'll have to review. And all of Americans are rethinking, how do I reinvent myself? How do I reinvent myself? What is the big ticket that I need to put the most emphasis on, that I can get the greatest result from my time, in my time? And, and this is true. This is real. And this is how we are. I mean, and you can't let the tragedy of the day or the trauma of the day, interfere with you making your mark. And I encourage you all as business owners, come on, you can find it. You can find it in yourselves. You gotta reach deep in your pocket, reach deep in your backside, reach deep in the chasm of who you are, to find who you can be, to make the difference in the mark that you were put on this earth to make. And so
well, I want to just share with everyone that this is one of the reasons why during COVID, we had to change our business model to video. Now, I don't know how much you know about video, but video is the #1 when you rank a video on Google. if you put a video up, it'll come up first in the ranking. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, anywhere, Pinterest, video ranks number one. So the videos that we do with you, you can now share this video and share it on your social media, share it everywhere, because the visibility that you will get from video is like no other. And research also tells us that people who use video are more likely to get a sale than people who don't. So the good thing that's come out of COVID is we have found an online audience that we normally would not have paid attention to. The online social media, billions of people want to buy your product. Billions of people, millions of people want to be your distributor. And there's online stores, there's like we are Amazon associates, always promoting products. So people are out there looking for you. And that's what this channel, other channels, when you get an invitation for a podcast or to go on it, because every time you have a video to share, you have credibility. And when you have more people watching and are part of your podcast, that's even better. I discovered that no one person is an expert, and none of us can claim that we can do it all. And I feel like as a community, we can do a lot. So I based this podcast and online show as a community-based piece, because when we connect with each other, magic happens. Because each of us will know someone and you can connect and you can grow so much faster. So I hope that you have enjoyed this segment. I'm going to ask Elton to wrap up. And then I'm going to go through some products, because people gave us products and wanted to be on our show, but they just couldn't come today. So I'd like to just make that presentation in a few minutes.
As Claire was saying, I appreciate each of your comments and suggestions. And quite frankly, there's no wrong way to view this, because your story is your story. And, you know, nobody can present or share and produce your story like you. At the end of the day, the point of the matter is, and Claire is making the point, 87% or more than 80% of all internet or online activity includes a video, includes media, a video. And quite frankly, when video or media is produced, people are strongly motivated to take action. They're strongly motivated to take positive action. So your presence and your opportunities. And so we've got to be, and this is, so now when you think about your children will be as resilient or more resilient than you are. Now they'll have to probably consider what alternatives or what aspects for tomorrow can I produce, and at the end of the day, you'll have to share with them, well, post-COVID, what we had to do was this. Because you have to teach them and train them that life's not over. And as long as you can breathe and take action, then it's your opportunity to breathe, take action, and share your opportunities with everybody and make a difference for your community. Now, our communities, each one of us represents different segments of our community. And your community need to see you. They need to hear from you. And as a business owner, man, wouldn't it be nice that you could actually support the businesses also? You support your own business, because I mean, if you got, I don't know how many employees that each one of you might have. You got 10 to 15 employees. And I love what Tim said. I mean, how do I keep my people going? I got to keep them employed. I got to make sure they have jobs. I got to make sure that they have the opportunity to take care of their families, that's big. That's big. That's big. And they also share an opportunity to represent aspects of their communities, And so at the end of the day, I have my father-in-law. He was in India. My wife's from India. And he had over 50 employees, and 50, and now in India, now money's different there, but he employed 50 employees, and every week he almost had to mortgage his house to pay his payroll. But he did it, and he kept doing it. And then when it was time for him to retire, he retired gracefully, with the big Superman on his chest. And so I commend you all. We're all about that. Whatever we can do to help and support you, and whatever we can do to bring your picture to full breath, we're here to do. And I'm proud of each of you. I thank you for being a part of our broadcast. And so with that being said, we're going to move to some of the products that we support. But, we support all of our products. But, Claire has a couple that she'd like to recognize particularly because they've done a great job in our community that way.